common knowledge that the X-Rank monsters in Dragon Quest Monsters games are generally the best monsters in them. However, they're also incredibly hard to obtain. On the contrary, you have S-Rank monsters, who are still really good, while being a lot easier to obtain, making them much more feasible to have in an endgame party. So today we're ranking all the S-Rank monsters in the original Dragon Quest Monsters Joker game. So welcome everybody, I'm Defeater of Souls, and if you're interested in Dragon Quest Monsters content, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Before we begin, I should probably make clear the criteria we're using for this list. We're going to be looking at the base stat growth, traits, skills, and resistances of all of these monsters. We are not taking into account how you obtain these monsters, what synthesis you can use these monsters for, and any other changes that you make using synthesis. We're also not looking at what equipment they can have, since that has very minor impact on this ranking. Now, this does mean that our ranking is going to be a little unrealistic, but think of this ranking less as the definitive best and worst monsters of the S ranks, and more like which ones are more worthwhile to actually put the time and effort into, and which ones are going to require a lot more time and effort into. The best monster is the monster you want to be the best. So let's look at the S rank monster I consider to be the worst. Number 22, Atlas. Resistances and traits are not that good. Skills are mostly magic based, which is a shame because he is not a good magic attacker. His magic stats are not good. He does have good HP attack and defense though, so if you need a bulky physical attacker, sure, he's a good choice. If you just need a high attack stat, sure, he's a good choice. Besides that though, he's kind of middle of the road, which, considering how he's the worst monster on this list, is a pretty good indicator of the quality of the S ranks in this game. Number 21, Draculard. He is one step over Atlas, as he has Zap Proof, which gives him immunity to a whole element. That is good. Traits still aren't that good, skills are fairly non-notable with one or two exceptions, and stats are still HP, attack, and defense high, magic-based low. So, he is a physical attacker who is still mostly going to be using normal attacks with one or two useful physical skills and immunity to Zap. Number 20, Night Clubber. Guess what? HP, attack, and defense are all good, magic stats are not. Resistances and traits are also not that good. Skills are alright, they're mostly self-sacrificial, which would be a bad thing, except he has good HP and defense, so he's going to be able to survive quite a few hits that he not only dishes out to others, but to himself. Now, you may be looking at the bottom three monsters on this list and saying, hey, they're all physical attackers. Does that mean physical attackers are bad? The answer is no. You just need to be able to do more than normal attacks with the occasional body slam to be a useful physical attacker. There are good physical attackers in the S ranks, and they are all much higher on this list. Number 19, Trapbox. He has some resistances. They're not especially useful, but he has them. Traits still aren't that good, and skills are mostly based around status condition. His stats are almost all average, with the exception of his HP, so honestly, he's just kind of average, I think would be the best way to describe him, from his skill set to his stats to his resistances, with a crappy trait. To be fair, it's pretty easy to get Trapbox, not because of synthesis, so I think it makes sense that he's not the most incredibly useful, although he is still a powerful monster. Number 18, Black Dragon. Resistances to Zam, which is a dark element of magic, are useful. His traits as Zammeister are also useful, given you have Zam Magic. Guess what? He does not have Zam Magic. Even if he did, his physical stats are generally better than his magic stats, although neither are too exceptional. High HP, high defense, so he seems like he'd be a powerful attacker, he just doesn't have the most powerful attacks. He has a skill set based around magic, or rather, preventing your opponent from using magic. All he needs is a good dark skill set, like Dark Light Slashes, or Zam and Crack, or something of that sort, and he'd be a pretty powerful attacker, but he doesn't, so here we are. Number 17, Mumbo Jumbo. Double resistances to nothing too special, and a trait that he can't use. We're off to a great start. Here's the thing though, Mumbo Jumbo has great stats. HP, attack, defense, wisdom, not a bad stat among them, although they do grow fairly slowly. MP isn't the best and he is pretty slow. And his skill set is mostly based around defending his allies and himself. He's kind of a mess, but everything can work together, and if you give him what he needs, he will be an incredibly powerful attacker. He just lacks that initially, and that's why I can't feel like I put him up too high. Number 16, Dawn Mole. Fun fact, the only reason why Dawn Mole's this high is because he has the trait known as Psycho. Psycho is a really good trait. He also has immunity to inaction, not too useful, skills that are mostly based around dance, which range from not that useful to not that useful, and stats that are mostly lackluster, such as a high attack, defense, and HP. Like I said, he's literally like the bottom three monsters of this list, but he is Psycho, that makes him better. Number 15, King Squid. The ability to absorb water is really good. He also has a really good trait in the form of steady recovery. Healing consistently is really useful. Speaking of healing, look at his skills. Hey, look, they're all healing. This does not pair too well with his high HP and attack, but hey, you can't all be winners here. The biggest problem with him is actually his MP, not his MP stat, but rather his MP growth. It's really slow. What this means is he's not actually going to have too much MP to use to heal him or his allies. This results in him not being that good of a healer and just a decent physical attacker without physical skills, so he's not actually that useful. But hey, the idea is there. Number 14, Calamari. Still able to absorb water and now has immunity to instant death. Trait isn't as useful as steady recovery, but hey, paralysis is still good, especially for a physical attacker. And since he has high HP, attack, and defense, it seems like he's a powerful physical attacker. Skills are mostly breath attacks, which are good, especially since he's able to deal some good damage with them. So all in all, he's a powerful physical attacker, capable of status conditions, and he can attack all enemies at once with breath attacks if wanted. So he's just a fairly solid monster. Number 13, Robin Hood. Resistances aren't too special, but Psycho is a really good trait. Skills range from only useful in random encounters to pretty good to have on a physical attacker. And that is what he is, a physical attacker with high attack and defense. Pretty much a fairly generic physical attacker, but he's still a good physical attacker. Number 12, Beetle Bully. Beetle Bully is basically just Robin Hood that you can actually get. He's weak to Frizz and he doesn't have instant death immunity, but he makes up for this by still having Psycho, the exact same skill set, and higher HP, attack, and defense stats. Sure, he's a little slower, and sure, his magic stats aren't that useful, but depends on what you prioritize in a monster to choose between these two guys. Personally, I prefer monsters I can actually obtain, that's why Beetle Bully's a little higher, even if it doesn't actually affect this ranking too much. Number 11, Killing Machine. I know in the past I've had some trouble ranking monsters with the Double Trouble trait, so let's try and rectify that. Double Trouble is one of the best traits in the game. The ability to act twice is exceptionally useful. Resistances are not too good, weakness to explosives is not a good thing to have. Skills are physical attacks that are also capable of weakening the opponent. These are really good since it helps bring monsters down to this level. Stats are not that good. This is because this is the trade-off for having Double Trouble as a trait. However, if you take into account the fact that he is acting twice per turn, his physical attack stat is really good. At the end of the day, he is a powerful physical attacker that acts twice per turn, weakens opponents down to his level. However, since he is mostly incapable of weakening multiple opponents at once, he needs good allies to help support him, otherwise he's not too useful. He is a powerful physical attacker, there's just better powerful physical attackers on this list. Number 10, White King. White King is really good. He has a really good wisdom stat, and he is a very powerful magic attacker. He does have a weakness to zap, this is not a good thing. Poisoner is a really good trait though. Even though he's not using too many physical attacks, having the option is a good thing. Skills are one of three things. They're either instant death, they're either weakening the opponent, or they're powerful attacks. Zamel and Chilly Breath being the two main ones that he uses. So, he's a very powerful magic attacker. You could give him even more powerful magic if you want, and it will be put to good use, because he's probably one of the powerfulest magic attackers in the entire game. Number 9, Nimzo. This is the other monster with Double Trouble, and I gotta say, he is better in almost every way. First of all, he absorbs Zam, which is really good. Zam is a good offensive spell, being able to completely nullify that, really useful. Weakness to Sap is not that big of a deal since it's a status condition and not a whole element of damage. Once again, Double Trouble, really good trait. Skills are based around buffing himself up so that his attacks deal a whole lot of damage. And this is what you want on a monster with Double Trouble. The ability to buff himself up means that his rather low stats are a non-factor, because he can buff past them to deal even higher damage with his skills. Plus, he's acting twice per turn, so he's able to buff himself up quickly and deal damage very heavily. He does have the small weakness where Disruptive Wave will hard counter him pretty hard, but besides that, Nimzo is a very solid monster. Number 8, Malroth. Resistances are really good. The ability to absorb Zam is really good. Psycho is once again a great trait, and it's paired with Artful Dodger, which isn't the most useful, but it's better than nothing. Skills are healing. Healing is really good. Now you might be saying, well, how good's Psycho if all you're going to be using it on is healing? And the answer is still pretty good. Sure, Full Heal and Kazing may not benefit too much from tension, but the rest of his skills most definitely will. Plus, he has some decent stats, so if you really wanted to just throw some physical attacks with him, you could, and still get some good damage with Psycho. Still a powerful healer, still good stats, still good monster. Number 7, Captain Crow. This is a standard I've been holding all other physical attacking monsters to. Not only does he have good physical attacking stats, he also has good skills and traits. Psycho is, and always will be, a great trait. I will continue to stress this for the remaining monsters on this list. Skills are also all really good. Some of them aren't too useful, but once you get to the end of the line, you get Giga Slash and Giga Gash, some of the best physical attacking skills in the entire game. So not only does he have good physical stats and great physical skills, he also has Psycho, a great trait, so he will be able to deal great damage with every single one of his attacks as long as you bother to prepare accordingly. This is a good physical attacker. Number 6, Dual Magus. This is the point of the list where if you told me these monsters were secretly X ranks the entire time, I'd believe you because they're just that good. Not only is he immune to wind magic, but he also has Psycho. Once again, great trait. His skills are all really well rounded. Not only is he capable of weakening the opponent, but he can also buff himself up and use very powerful magic, and he has a really good wisdom stat. So you have a fairly self-sufficient magic attacker who can buff, weaken, and do everything else except heal himself. Honestly, nothing too wrong with him, which is good because you require X-rank monsters to get him anyways. Number 5, Metal King Slime. Now it may come as a surprise. Holy crap, a metal monster this low on the list? Yeah, don't worry about it. Along with having the best resistances in the entire game, and Metal Body, one of the best traits in the entire game, Metal King Slime also has some of the best stats in the entire game. Sure, his HP isn't that good, that should be expected. Everything else is incredibly solid, except his attack growth. That's also really slow for some reason. Biggest problem with Metal King Slime is his skills. His skills are not good. Sure, you can upgrade them with some extra synthesis, but if you've taken the time to get all the way up to a Metal King Slime, you're going to want some good skills. You don't want to have to go even further just to make him useful. That aside, probably one of the best defensive monsters in the entire game, and honestly, there was no way he wasn't making it into the top 5. Number 4, Grandpa Slime. If Metal King Slime is one of the best defensive slimes, Grandpa Slime is one of the best offensive slimes. Along with still having immunity to instant death, he has 2 really good traits. Not only does he have Psycho, but he also has Magic Regenerator, which means he can use as much magic as he wants. And his stats are really good. Sure, they're not Metal Slime level good, but they are really good. Once again, he does have the small problem where his skills aren't the best and require a little bit of upgrading to get, but it is 100% worth it because they are good. And if you pair them with those incredibly powerful traits, you will have an absolutely devastating magic attacker. Number 3, Dullahan. Honestly, this is probably one of the most surprising monsters on this list with how high he ended up. But hey, all of his stats are really good, except MP, that's just kinda decent. Resistances aren't too special, and Psycho as a trait is really useful. The main reason why he's this good is because he has a really good skill set. Not only is he capable of healing himself with meditation or buffing himself up with oomph, he also has a lot of powerful physical attacks. They may not be Giga Slash level, but they are incredibly powerful. And remember, he can also buff himself and heal himself, so he's entirely self-sufficient, incredibly powerful, physical attacker with Psycho. Honestly, I don't even need to say anymore. Good job, Dullahan. Number 2, Alabast Dragon. You know, according to his little lore entry in the game, this is supposed to be an alternate version of the Zenith Dragon, a monster so strong they're almost always considered an S rank, SS rank, X rank, mystery rank, and other games. So, it kind of makes sense. Psycho, really good trait. Stats, really good. Best part about him, though? Well, it's not his resistances, which are really good. The ability to ignore ice breath damage and heal from taking zap. Yeah, no, the best part about him, actually his skills. His skills are really good. As in, he is able to not only heal himself, but he can heal his allies with multi-heal and omni-heal. And he has really good offensive skills. If you want to use some powerful magic attacks, he has a good wisdom stat. So, Zapple's gonna deal a lot of damage, because Zapple's gonna deal a lot of damage. Ah, you say, but you want to do physical attacks instead? Don't worry, he has both Giga Slash and Giga Gash. Honestly, he can do everything except buff himself. He's incredibly self-sufficient, and he can support your entire party. I don't have anything else to say. Alabast Dragon is easily one of the best monsters in the entire game, especially among S ranks. But then that just leaves one other monster on this list, and that's going to be number 1, the Darkonium Slime. Honestly, you didn't think I wasn't going to put a metal monster on the top of this list, did you? Of course Darkonium Slime's going on top, with all his stats being just better version of the Metal King Slimes whenever possible, traits being the same, resistances being the best in the game, and he's actually paired with a good skill set. Sure, it's not the same quality skill set that the likes of Alabast Dragon or Dolahan had, but it is a good skill set that doesn't require a bunch of upgrading to make useful. It's powerful fire magic attacks. Honestly, I don't have too much to say here. Pretty much everything I said about the Metal King Slime or the Gem Slime in a different video still applies here. If you have a Darkonium Slime on your team, you are in a very good position, and I can easily see, and I think it's easily justifiable, why he is the #1 monster on this list. Thank you all for watching. If you're a fan of Dragon Quest Monsters content, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you like the video, feel free to leave a like. And if you got anything to say, whether or not you agree with my ranking or just have anything else to comment on, feel free to, well, leave a comment. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at the question of the every other week. Last week I asked about Solitaire's post-game team in Joker 2. And, well, we got a few answers, so thank you, Mind Zero Limit, The Troll and a Half, Draven Derp, and Sir Sniffles for correctly guessing and playing along. Good job, you got it right. Alright, this week we're gonna step back and look at Joker 1. I mentioned earlier in the video, just very briefly, that you couldn't actually obtain Robin Hood. Do you know the exact reason why? That's right, I'm looking for the reason why you can't have Robin Hood in a normal playthrough of Dragon Quest Monsters Joker. If you're able to answer and you put it in the comment, then I'll give you a shout out in the next video. So, thank you all for watching, and this has been the Feeder of Souls.